In this video, I'm going to be teaching you how to create links from custom properties to the notes in your drawings. You can see here, we've already got a couple notes in the bottom of our drawing here. You can see we've got this block, we've got the 17.4, which is the part number, and a revision. We also have some material information here that's linked together. So in this video, we're going to be going through how to create those links and what do they actually mean. So to get started, we have to make sure that we do have the right custom properties in our file. So to do that, let's go ahead and click on this one here. Click on Open Part, which is going to open the original part we have. And under here, we see we have Custom Properties. We also have Configuration Specific. Notice I only have the default configuration, but if you had multiple configurations, they'd all be listed here. So if you have something like a part number, which might be changing from configuration to configuration, instead of putting it here, what you could do is you could actually overwrite that by clicking on part number right here and override it per configuration. So you can then type the part number here for this configuration, then go ahead and choose the next configuration, which would be listed here, and then go ahead and just type that next part number in. These configuration specific part numbers will automatically override the custom properties. So keep that in mind. You can add as many or as few as you want, but my recommendation is everything that's staying the same, go ahead and keep in custom properties. Everything that's changing from part to part, put that in configuration specific. And then over here in the summary, you don't need to fill this information out, but sometimes if you're using a PDM system or some type of a vault system to store your files and working with a bunch of people, putting your name in here might help you find your documents later on, or putting in keywords for what this document actually is. For instance, if it's a piece of hardware, you might say this is a screw, it's a 1/4 by 2 inches long. And those could be all keywords. Then you could search for this part later on and possibly find it using those keywords, comments, or even the title or subject of that document. So all that information you can put in there. It's just going to help you find it later on, especially when you're using search terms to find your parts when you have a large volume of parts. Anyways, once you have some custom properties or some configuration specific properties, go ahead and click on OK. Now let's go back to our drawing, which is 17.4. And you can see down here, right click anywhere on the sheet. Come down here and expand that window out and click on Properties. You can see we're using this format here, and you can display or hide the sheet format. If you need to make any adjustments to the size or the template you're using, you would do that right here. Once you're OK, click on OK. Now right click one more time and click on Edit Sheet Format. Notice it turns blue, which means I can edit this document here. So I can zoom in here and I can click on lines and move things around if I wanted to, or I can add notes in here, or I can create links. And notice this link right here, it says block. But if I hover over it, notice it says that $PRP sheet. And if I double click it, I get the same exact thing. So it's $PRP sheet and then description. And that's the format you need to be in to create these links. So that's actually not a typed in value. That's actually linking back to my part and pulling up the description from that part. Same thing down here. If I click on that one or double click on it, I can see that's the file name. And over here, revision. It's linking to the revision. If you don't want it to link to that revision, you could link to the part revision, or you can link to the drawing revision. You have a bunch of different options here, and we can modify this sheet to your liking. If I want to add my own custom link, all you need to do is come up here to Note, and we'll start a note on the drawing here. Here it is. And I'm going to come over here and link to something. So I can link to a hyperlink. So I can put like a website here if I wanted to. I can then link to a property. Click on Link to Property, drop in here, and I can link to the current document, which is just the drawing sheet itself. But most of the time, you're going to be wanting to link to the model that's actually in the drawing. So I can choose either a drawing specific, or I can select a component. I'm going to choose the drawing here. And notice the 17.4 part has already been selected. I can then edit file properties from that document if I wanted to. Come over here to Custom Properties and make some modifications. But if you don't want to do that, go ahead and cancel out. And then I can also link to property names, and here they all are. So I can choose something from here and just link together. And I can make my own link that then ties back to that individual part. So here, let's go ahead and choose maybe a date, or I can choose a configuration name, which doesn't have one here, but you could pull it up like it'd be configuration 1 or 2. I can tie into the author, the keywords we looked at before. Any of these things we can just automatically link back to. How about material? I can automatically link to material if it has a material pre-selected. Notice it doesn't. Click OK. nothing shows up here and it just shows up with material. That's really not what I want. So I want to make sure that when I do click, it links to the property material and it needs to have one. If it doesn't have one, you either need to go back over here and type something out like steel. Click OK. Choose that material and now it shows up. And now it's linking to PRP material. So that's how you set up a link in your drawing notes. And now you can see I can just click on that, drag it, and place it anywhere on my drawing. I could place it right down here in material and overwrite the existing value I have right here. But notice that one's linking back to PRP material. And this other one over here is actually linking to something else. This one's going to be PRP sheet material. So there's two different things. One's the link to the sheet itself and one's the link to the actual parts. So keep that in mind when you're working with linked values and bringing them into your drawing document.